from New York, Mr. Goldman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I also want to echo my support for having this hearing, especially because I tried futilely and desperately last Congress to have a hearing on a similar topic. In November of 2023, I led a letter to Elon Musk on X because in the 6 weeks following October 7th attack that Mr. Flesch so powerfully referenced, there was massive distribution of Hamas and other terrorist propaganda videos, and even some generated profit on X. I got no response, written response. I guess that part of the 75% cut in Twitter that Elon Musk did went to the Government Affairs Office. So then in March, I wrote to Chairman Comer. I was on the Oversight Committee asking for a hearing on this because it continued. And in fact, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, actually wrote a tweet complaining about having his blue check mark taken down. So that was an issue that also related to violating sanctions. No word from Chairman Comer, and then we wrote a letter to the Speaker in August. No response, no hearing. So I'm glad we're having this, and I take the gesture of bipartisanship seriously. And Dr. Zelen, I want to come to you first, because I noticed in your opening statement, Dr. Braddock, you said the similar things, that a lot of these problems have been exacerbated by a reduction in content moderation. And in fact, you said that beginning with Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, the level of content moderation in general has backslid. Of course, recently, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Meta was eliminating all content moderation. And certainly we're grappling with the First Amendment, but there's no possible way to stop the online proliferation of terrorism without some degree of content moderation. Is that right, Dr. Zelen?
Yes, thank you for the question. I agree. I mean, obviously we have our own internal debates within the United States, partisan debates, what have you. But when we're talking about foreign terrorist organizations, we need to be clear that they should not have a space on these platforms, especially American-owned companies. And the current state of things is definitely backslid in recent years.
And part of the reason that they should not is that they are professional criminal organizations, to put it a different way. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, they do, they're doing things illegally according to the U.S. law, for sure.
And so we don't want crimes to be committed online on our American companies, right?
That's correct.
So this is where we run into problem, because some believe that the free speech is an absolute right. You can say anything you want to say, and of course that would include inciting violence, potentially committing crime, and also sex trafficking, as my colleague aptly pointed out. So this is not an academic exercise in discussing the First Amendment. This has real-world significance that you all have identified. Mr. Flesch, when I was walking over here after we just voted, outside the Capitol, I saw a huge poster with a swastika on it. And I know you've spoken a lot about the rise of anti-Semitism, anti-Israel sentiment post-October 7th, and I agree with you about that, and I condemn it wholeheartedly. But we're also seeing a rise of neo-Nazi attitudes online, and in fact, some of them are truly perpetuated by the owner of X, who has expressed support for AfD in Germany, which I think you will agree with me is effectively a neo-Nazi organization. And I guess I would just ask you you've addressed a lot of the rise in the global intifada, and I agree with you, but Talk about the risk of the online support and proliferation of neo-Nazi views.
Well, I think certainly neo-Nazis or anti-Semites. They certainly present a risk to everyday Americans. A lot of my focus has been on the current immediate threat that for shorthand, this Hamas supporting network that we've been looking at Heritage presents to Americans of all persuasions, not just Jews. So neo-Nazis, will certainly be a threat for maybe endemic, but they're not, as we estimate, the immediate threat that a lot of these individuals I've identified in my testimony we see almost every day who are attacking Jewish and non-Jewish students and Americans across the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can debate which is worse. Certainly the white supremacist theory affects Jews as well as non-Jews as well. So I see my time is up, but I appreciate all of you for being here, and I look forward to addressing this issue together.